The diesel pumps went silent. Marcus Webb sat frozen in his wheelchair beside his modified van, the rejected credit card still clutched in his trembling right hand, the only hand he had left. Through the gas station window, he could see the clerk laughing, phone raised, recording him. The screen above the pump flashed red. Transaction denied. Pump locked. Please, Marcus called out, his voice cracking. I just need gas to get home. The clerk's response came through the intercom, loud enough for the other customers to hear. Should have thought of that before trying to scam us, buddy. I've seen your type before. Fake disabled vets begging for handouts. Get off the property. Marcus's jaw tightened. The prosthetic arm attached to his left shoulder, visible beneath his short-sleeved shirt, caught the afternoon sunlight. The scars on his face, the Purple Heart license plate on his van, the wheelchair he'd lived in for 3 years since Kandahar. None of it mattered to the young man behind the counter. But before Marcus could respond, a sound rose in the distance. Low at first, then building like approaching thunder. The rumble of engines. Dozens of them. Let's go back to where this day really started, 6 hours earlier, when Marcus Webb began what should have been a simple drive home. The VA hospital in Portland discharged Marcus at 8 that morning with a new prescription for pain management and the same advice they always gave. Rest, physical therapy, patience. He'd heard it all before, ever since the IED took his arm, shattered his spine, and ended his Army career at 29. Now 32, Marcus had learned to navigate the world from wheelchair height. His van, a 10-year-old Dodge Caravan modified with hand controls, was his lifeline. It had cost him most of his savings to adapt, but it meant independence. It meant he didn't have to rely on anyone. He'd planned the route carefully. Portland to his apartment in Salem, 90 minutes if traffic cooperated. He'd filled up before the hospital, knowing his fuel gauge was temperamental. But somewhere around Woodburn, the gauge betrayed him. The engine sputtered. The dashboard warning light blazed. Marcus guided the van to the next exit, relief flooding through him when he saw the truck stop. A sprawling complex with multiple diesel lanes, a convenience store, and a diner. Big rigs filled most of the lot, their chrome gleaming in the October sun. He maneuvered his wheelchair out of the van with practiced efficiency. The lift whirred, lowering him to the pavement. He'd done this hundreds of times, but it never stopped feeling vulnerable, being at ground level while the world moved around him at standing height. The diesel pump stood in the commercial section, away from regular vehicles. Marcus rolled up to pump 7, inserted his debit card, and waited. Card declined. His stomach dropped. He tried again. Same result. He checked his phone. His banking app showed $247.83 available. More than enough for the $50 of fuel he needed. Marcus wheeled toward the building. The entrance had a ramp, at least, though the door was heavy. He shouldered it open and approached the counter where a clerk in his early 20s stood scrolling through his phone. His name tag read Cody. "Excuse me," Marcus said. "I'm having trouble with my card at pump 7. Could you run it inside?" Cody didn't look up. "Pumps work fine. If your card's declined, that's your problem. My account has funds. I could show you." "Yeah, everyone says that." Cody finally raised his eyes, taking in Marcus's wheelchair, his prosthetic arm, the scars. His expression shifted to something ugly. "Look, man, if you're here to beg, we don't do handouts." Heat crept up Marcus's neck. "I'm not begging. I'm trying to buy gas. Cards declined. Nothing I can do." Cody returned to his phone. "Could you at least try running it manually? Sometimes the outdoor readers." I said no. Cody's voice rose. "We get people like you all the time. Fake veterans, fake disabilities, looking for sympathy. There's a shelter in Salem if you need help." The store went quiet. 2 truckers at the coffee station turned to stare. A woman buying lottery tickets froze mid-transaction. "I'm not fake," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the rage building in his chest. "I served 8 years. I lost my arm and my leg's use in Afghanistan. I just need to buy gas." Cody leaned over the counter, his sneer widening. "Sure you did. And I'm supposed to believe that wheelchair's real too? I've seen those scam artists in Portland, faking disabilities for drug money." He pulled out his phone and aimed it at Marcus. "This is going on TikTok. Beggar tries to scam gas station. Let's see how many views that gets." Marcus's right hand, his remaining hand, clenched into a fist. 3 years of therapy had taught him control, breathing exercises, de-escalation. But sitting there, being recorded, being mocked for sacrifices that still woke him screaming some nights. "Please," he said quietly. "Just let me try the card one more time." "Get out." Cody pointed toward the door. "Before I call the cops and tell them you're trespassing." One of the truckers stepped forward, a middle-aged man with a weathered face. "Hey now, kid. That's not. Mind your business," Cody snapped. "This doesn't concern you." Marcus held up his hand to the trucker. "It's fine. I'll figure something out." He wheeled himself back outside, dignity intact, but spirit crumbling. His van sat at pump 7, nearly empty. Salem was still 40 miles away. His phone showed 2% battery. He tried the card again at the pump. The screen went through its process, hope rising. Then, transaction denied. Pump locked by attendant. Through the window, he saw Cody watching, still filming, laughing at something on his screen. Marcus lowered his head. He'd survived an explosion that killed 3 of his brothers. He'd endured 17 surgeries. He'd learned to live in a body that no longer worked the way it should. But this casual cruelty from someone who'd never sacrificed anything? This broke something inside him. He didn't see the trucker from inside pull out his phone. Didn't see the message sent to a group chat labeled Road Warriors, West Coast Chapter. Didn't hear the responses flooding in, each one confirming. En route. ETA 15 minutes. All Marcus heard was the hum of interstate traffic and his own ragged breathing. Then, like distant thunder, came the sound of engines. The first truck appeared on the access road like something out of a fever dream. A Peterbilt 579 with custom chrome, its air horn blasting twice. Then another. Then 5 more, forming a line that stretched back to the interstate. Marcus looked up from his wheelchair, confusion replacing despair. The trucks weren't stopping at the fuel lanes. They were circling the station, creating a perimeter around Pump 7. Around him, within minutes, 30 semi-trucks surrounded the gas station, their engines rumbling in a synchronized idle that made the ground vibrate. The diesel exhaust and raw power created an atmosphere that felt biblical, like walls rising at Jericho. Drivers emerged from their cabs, men and women in flannel, denim, and leather. Some wore veteran caps. Others had service branch insignias tattooed on their arms. They moved with purpose, converging on Marcus's position. The trucker from inside reached him first. Up close, Marcus could see the Marine Corps emblem on his jacket, the gray in his beard, the scars that spoke of their own stories. Name's Tom Garrett, son. Served with the 2nd Marines, Fallujah. He extended his hand to Marcus, who shook it, still bewildered. Saw what happened in there. Made some calls. I don't understand. Yes, you do. Tom's voice was gentle but firm. We take care of our own. Always have, always will. A woman approached, late 40s, wearing a Kenworth cap and a Navy anchor pendant. Sarah Chun, Seabees, Gulf War. That little punk in there thinks he can disrespect a Purple Heart recipient? Not while I'm breathing. More drivers introduced themselves. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, a cross-section of American service spread across decades. Some were veterans themselves. Others were civilians who'd lost family to war, or who simply believed in standing up for what was right. We've got you blocked in here until this gets sorted, Tom explained. Nobody in, nobody out. That clerk wants to play games. Let's see how his boss feels about losing business. Inside the store, Cody's face had gone pale. The line of customers waiting to check out had grown to 12 people, all of them trapped. His phone rang, the caller ID showing Regional Manager. Through the window, Marcus watched Cody answer, watched his expression crumble as he listened. The kid's eyes kept darting to the wall of trucks outside, to the gathering of drivers, to Marcus sitting calmly at the center of it all. Tom pulled out his phone and showed Marcus the screen. This went out to the West Coast Truckers Network 15 minutes ago. The message read, Vet being refused service at Woodburn Truck Stop, Pump 7. Clerk mocking his disability. Who's nearby? The responses filled the screen. 10-4 en route. Coming from Eugene. Diverting from my route. Won't let this stand. Marcus's eyes burned. You all came for me? You don't even know me. Don't need to know you, Sarah said, crouching beside his wheelchair. We know what that uniform means. We know what those scars cost. She gestured to his prosthetic arm. My brother came back from Iraq missing both legs. Killed himself 2 years later because he couldn't handle how people treated him. Like he was broken. Like he was begging for pity just by existing. Her voice cracked. I couldn't save him. but I can damn sure make certain that pumpkin there learned something today. A massive freightliner pulled up, and its driver emerged, a mountain of a man with a long beard and a tactical vest covered in patches. Marcus recognized the insignia: Special Forces, multiple deployments, a silver star. That the target? The man rumbled, pointing at the store. That's him, Tom confirmed. Regional manager's on the phone with him now. Good, because I've got the district manager's number, and the corporate office, and 3 local news stations I tipped off 5 minutes ago. He turned to Marcus. Brother, you good? You hurt? You need anything? Marcus shook his head, too overwhelmed to speak. Okay then, you just sit tight. This ends now. Inside, Cody was gesturing frantically, trying to explain to someone on the phone. Other employees had emerged from the back, an older woman who looked like a shift supervisor, a mechanic in coveralls. They stared out at the truck blockade in disbelief. Tom's phone rang. He answered, listened, then smiled. Understood. We'll wait. He ended the call and addressed the gathered drivers. That was the regional manager. She's 15 minutes out. Wants everyone here when she arrives so she can apologize personally and address the situation. Her words. A cheer went up from the drivers. Someone started handing out coffee from their rig. Another driver brought Marcus a sandwich and a Gatorade. A third offered to check his van, diagnosed the fuel gauge issue in minutes, and jerry-rigged a temporary fix. You'll make it to Salem now, no problem, the mechanic said, wiping his hands. But get that gauge replaced soon. I've got a buddy who'll do it cost, mechanic to veteran discount. Marcus accepted the business card with numb fingers. Cars began backing up on the access road, unable to enter the truck stop. Horns honked. A few irate drivers got out to complain, then went silent when they saw the wall of semis and the gathering of veterans. One driver approached Tom. What's going on? I need diesel. Tom pointed to Marcus. That man served his country, lost his arm and his ability to walk defending our freedom, and the clerk inside refused him service and mocked his disability. We're waiting for management to fix this. The driver's anger evaporated. He looked at Marcus, at the Purple Heart plate, at the wheelchair. Jesus. I'll wait. Take your time. Word spread through the backed-up vehicles. More people emerged, some offering support, others just bearing witness. A few veterans in the crowd made their way to Marcus, introducing themselves, swapping stories. Mosul, 2016, one young woman said, showing Marcus her prosthetic leg beneath her jeans. Stepped on something I shouldn't have. Lost everything below the knee. Kabul, 2019, Marcus replied. IED. Lost the arm immediately. Lost my legs used from spinal damage. They didn't need to say more. The shared understanding passed between them like electricity. Sarah climbed onto the hood of her truck with a bullhorn someone had produced. Anyone here have a problem with what we're doing? Anyone think this veteran doesn't deserve respect? Silence. Then, scattered applause that built into sustained clapping. The regional manager arrived in a corporate SUV, followed by a police cruiser. The officer, a veteran himself, judging by the Marine Corps sticker on his personal vehicle in the lot, surveyed the scene and made a call, then posted himself beside Tom. Sheriff says as long as you're peaceful, you're fine, the officer told Tom. Technically private property, but the manager's here, so it's her call. He glanced at Marcus. 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines, Ramadi. That prosthetics military issue. You need anything, brother? I'm good. Thank you. The regional manager, a sharp woman in her 50s named Patricia Holder, walked directly to Marcus, ignoring the gathered crowd. She knelt beside his wheelchair, meeting him at eye level. Mr. Webb, I'm Patricia Holder. I manage 17 locations in Oregon and Washington. What happened to you today is unacceptable, unconscionable, and against every policy my company stands for. Her voice shook with genuine anger. I want to apologize on behalf of everyone who works for us. It's the clerk you need to talk to, Marcus said quietly. Oh, I will. But first, your fuel is free today. Your card works fine. Our system flagged it incorrectly, and Cody overrode the ability to retry instead of helping you. He will be terminated immediately. She paused. But more than that, I want to make this right. What do you need? Marcus gestured to the trucks. I need these people to know how much this means. They came for a stranger. Patricia stood and addressed the crowd. Everyone here, thank you for standing up for what's right. Your fuel today is 50% off, and anyone who wants a meal from our diner eats free. It's the least we can do." Cheers erupted, but Patricia held up her hand. "More importantly, we're implementing mandatory sensitivity and veteran awareness training at all locations, effective immediately. And we're establishing a veteran hiring initiative. We should have done it years ago." She returned to Marcus. "Your van repair? Send me the bill. We'll cover it. And I'd like to offer you a job, if you're interested. We need good people who understand service and sacrifice. Management track, with accommodations for your needs." Marcus blinked. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll think about it." She handed him her business card. "Take your time." Cody emerged from the store, escorted by the shift supervisor. His phone was gone, his name tag removed. He looked at the crowd and seemed to shrink. Patricia intercepted him. "You're dismissed, effective immediately. Security will escort you to collect your belongings. You'll receive severance as required by law, but that's all." She leaned closer, her voice low but audible to those nearby. "I hope you learned something from this. That man you humiliated is worth 10 of you." Cody's face flushed red. He opened his mouth, closed it, then walked to his car in silence. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, their expressions speaking volumes. As Cody drove away, Tom started a slow clap that spread through the gathered drivers. Marcus felt tears, hot and unstoppable, streaming down his face. "Why?" he asked Tom. "Why did you all come?" "Because we remember what it's like to be invisible," Tom said simply. "Every vet knows that feeling. Coming home to a country that says it supports you but doesn't see you." "We see you, Marcus. We always will," Sarah added. "And because my brother deserved someone to stand up for him, and he didn't get it. You do. Today you do." The trucks began to disperse slowly, drivers stopping by to shake Marcus's hand, to hug him, to press business cards and phone numbers into his palm. "You ever need anything," they said, over and over. "You call, day or night." The mechanic filled Marcus's tank personally, checked the repair he'd made, and refused payment. Already covered by Patricia. "And even if it wasn't, you paid your debt a long time ago, brother." By the time the crowd thinned, 2 hours had passed. The sun hung lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the truck stop. Marcus sat in his van, the engine running smoothly, directions to Salem pulled up on his phone. But he didn't leave immediately. Tom knocked on the window. "You okay to drive?" "Yeah, just processing. It's a lot." Tom smiled. "Listen, there's a veterans support group that meets in Salem every Thursday. American Legion Post 51. Good people. You should come." Marcus took the information. "I will. I promise." "And Marcus? What happened today? This is how it's supposed to be. People looking out for each other. Don't let one punk with a camera make you forget there's more good than bad out there." "I won't." Tom stepped back, saluted, a crisp military salute that Marcus returned with his remaining hand. Then the old Marine climbed back into his Peterbilt and rolled out onto the highway, his air horn blasting twice in farewell. Marcus sat alone in his van, looking at the business cards scattered across his passenger seat. Job offer, mechanic, support group, phone numbers of drivers who'd called themselves family after knowing him for 2 hours. He thought about Cody's phone recording him, meant to humiliate. By now, it might have gone viral, but not the way the clerk intended. Someone in the crowd had filmed the trucks arriving, the veterans gathering, the moment Patricia knelt beside his wheelchair. That video would tell a different story. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hey brother, this is Sarah Chin from Today. Just checking you made it home okay. Let me know." Marcus smiled and replied, "Almost there. Thank you for everything." The drive to Salem passed in a blur of highway lines and fading daylight. When he finally pulled into his apartment complex, his neighbor, an elderly Korean War vet named Harold, was checking his mail. Harold spotted the Purple Heart plate and gave a knowing nod. "Rough day. Started that way," Marcus admitted. "Ended different. Good days usually do." Harold paused. "Thursday, you should come to Post 51 with me. Some of us old-timers get together, swap lies, drink bad coffee. Could use some young blood." Marcus laughed, a real laugh, the first in months. "Someone already invited me. I'll be there." That night, in his small apartment with its wheelchair ramps and modified counters, Marcus sat at his computer. The video from the truck stop had indeed gone viral, 3 million views and climbing. The comments overwhelmed him. "This is what America should be. Those truckers are heroes." "I'm crying," Thank you to everyone who showed up. And from Sarah Chun, for my brother Tommy, who needed someone to stand up for him. Rest easy, brother. We got this one. Marcus created an account and commented, I'm the veteran from this video. Thank you to everyone who came, who stood with me, who reminded me that I'm not alone. You gave me something I'd lost. Hope. I'll pay it forward. Promise. By morning, his comment had 10,000 replies. Job offers. Invitations to speak. Requests to share his story. But more than that, messages from other veterans saying they felt seen, felt valued, felt less alone. Thursday came. Marcus wheeled himself into American Legion Post 51, where Tom and Sarah and a dozen other drivers from that day waited with coffee and donuts and open arms. Welcome home, brother, Tom said. And for the first time since Kandahar, Marcus Webb felt like he truly was. 6 months later, Marcus managed 3 truck stops for Patricia's company, hiring veterans and implementing accessibility standards. The mechanic who'd fixed his van had become a close friend. Sarah Chun visited monthly, and they'd started a non-profit helping disabled veterans navigate transportation challenges. But every week, without fail, Marcus returned to Post 51, to the community that had surrounded him when he needed it most, to the family he'd found in a parking lot full of diesel and dignity. The kid with the camera had tried to teach him he was worthless. 30 truck drivers had taught him different. That service mattered, that sacrifice was seen, that brotherhood didn't end when the uniform came off. Some lessons arrive in classrooms. Others arrive in 30 semi-trucks, their engines roaring like thunder, their message clear. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are home.